As a coffee expert, people always ask me, can you even make good coffee in one of these? Follow along for 5 reasons why you can. Hey guys, welcome to season 2 of Moongoat BrewTorials. My name's David, and I'm here to show you 5 tips to make batch brew coffee better at home. Tip number 1 when brewing great coffee at home is water. Coffee is 98% plus water, and I'm no water sommelier, but if you wouldn't drink it, you shouldn't brew with it. So whether it's fancy natural artesian water or water that's filtered with minerals added, or at least tap water you filtered at home, any of the waters I mentioned and something good enough to drink is all you need. And we take water seriously because if you're drinking Moongoat coffee, it uses 20 times less water than a conventional source of coffee. Tip number 2, when brewing great coffee at home, is using fresh coffee. Here at Moongoat, we use in-season coffee because coffee grows on trees and is a tropical fruit that has seasons. So we curate a special blend for each season, this one being our spring blend, but we have one for every season that is perfect for batch brewing coffee. And just like any other produce product, you want to drink it fast because nothing great ever lasts. Tip number 3, guys, when we're brewing great coffee at home is ratio. So the right amount of coffee to water is vitally important. And as you can see, this is a hard amount to eyeball. So you want to make sure that you do have an investment in a kitchen scale in order to measure it properly. When we're measuring coffee, it's just like baking. It's so much more accurate to use the scale. And so when we want the result of a liter of coffee, we're going to measure out on the scale 65 grams of coffee. And it's as simple as that's a 15-to-1 ratio. Tip number 4, as we're brewing the best coffee we can at home, is grind. So we're going to go ahead and use that 65 grams of coffee that we talked about before and put it into a burr grinder if at all possible. Because if you've got one of those blade grinders sitting in your spice cabinet, just toss it. Coffee really likes to be ground as evenly as possible. So for most grinders, it's going to be the center point of your dial where you're going to get the most even results. The time has finally come. We're putting all the tips together and brewing some coffee. So just like evenness of grind, as we load up the coffee into the filter basket, we want to make sure it goes in evenly. And that leads us to our 5th and final tip as we put everything together is that we want the water temperature to be stable as well. That's between 195 and 205. Or if you can't remember that, as hot as you can brew. While we're letting this coffee brew, let's recap the 5 tips. You're going to have water that you would drink on its own, because coffee is, after all, 98% water. You're going to have fresh coffee because it's a seasonal fruit. You want it to be as fresh as any produce you have on your counter. And number 3, you're going to have a great ratio because something too strong or too weak is no good. 4th, you want it ground as evenly as possible. It's better to have your fancy coffee shop grind it than to have that horrible blade grinder in your spice cabinet. And tip number 5, you need to have a brewer that will keep your temperature stable. So even if you've got one of those Mr. Coffees at home, leaving it tilted up so that it can preheat is a great tip to get the best with what you've got. The moment is finally here. We're ready to drink some coffee. So all those tips have come together to give us a beautiful batch of brew. The coffee we're drinking today is Zing in Your Step. It's our seasonal spring blend that has the peak coffees from the springtime season in your cup. Works perfect with cream and sugar or awesome on its own. Now, if you want something more than seasonal, we have a batch brew subscription that gives you fresh coffees every month that are designed for batch brew. It also is our most affordable subscription. So if you need bulk coffee, this is the one for you. We here at Moongoat are on a mission to bring you better coffee easier daily. If that resonates with you, follow along.